Alright, good morning everyone. Hope everybody's well. Wednesday morning, hump day. We're off to see the sugar dick now. We had a little change in program today. We're out chooching along, heading over to, we're going to pick up 50 pounds of sugar because, I was going to take the day off today and work on the electrical wiring diagram for the Shine Shack there, because I've got to start working to convert that to a in-law unit out there. But the boss said that's not part of the program today, because on Saturday we discussed doing another ferment. Well, this is like I don't know, 4 weeks in a row I've done ferment, so we're under our 200th pound of sugar for the last 4 weeks, so we're heading over there. But it is what it is. I guess I did tell the boss I would do a ferment today, so we're going to put that up. But I'm going to sit down today. I've got some friends that are doing some fermenting and stuff, making beers and some harder stuff. And I just want to tell you, when you're distilling, all you're doing is effectively taking beer. They call it distiller's beer, and then extracting the alcohol out of it as purely as you can. But it's still a beer base that you're making. Granted, it doesn't have hops and stuff like that in it, but it is a basic beer. You're taking sugar and grains for flavoring, and we use sugar for firepower for fermenting. But you're using grains, the grains for fermenting and for flavor, and you're using the sugar for firepower to give you the yield. And generally you always want to get about a 10% yield when you're stilling. In other words, if you put 10 gallons into the still, you want to get a gallon out at least of 90%, 85, 88% pure ethanol, and with some flavor components in it. We're not making vodka right now, we're making whiskey. If we were making vodka, we want to take that purity up so high that we've effectively wrung the taste out of it. That's what makes vodka a neutral spirit, and then later they flavor that. They infuse that with flavoring. So you can make vodka pretty much out of anything, from potatoes to wheat to grains. All vodka is by definition any type of distilled alcohol that's above 90% purity is defining vodka. It doesn't necessarily have to be made from potatoes, it doesn't have to be made from wheat. Wheat is very common though, and potatoes. But by law, by federal law, vodka is 90% or above pure. Some people take that up. They call it triple distilled and triple filtered and triple polished things to make sure that when that, and then they put the distilled water in to cut it down to 50%, 40, 50% alcohol. They want to make sure that that's as neutral of flavor as you can get, because for a lot of women in particular, vodka is the drink of choice, because women rarely drink distilled beverages straight up. In other words, when I go out, well, you're all man, Rosie. Yeah, I go out there and I get Jim Beam or some bourbon or our own stuff on the rocks, and I'll just sip that because I love the flavor of the straight up, distilled spirit, like a Jim Beam or something like that, or our own stuff. Of course, our own stuff will blow your freaking head off because it's, almost 90% pure. So you really have to be careful. I just let it sit on the ice a while to dilute down and make it sippable. Otherwise, you just, you can likely damage your throat and esophagus by pouring something down that pure. And we don't need to have any extras in life to induce cancers and things like that, esophageal cancer. So you have to be careful about things. But anyway, today we're going to put up another ferment. I've I've gone through step by step on ferments, but I want to talk about some of the theory today because people are doing their home brewing, and I want to make sure to give them some secrets of the trade to help them when they're, when they're making moonshine or they're distilling beverages or even doing a beer ferment, to make sure that you get the most powerful ferment that you can and that you get the greatest yield. Because remember, if it doesn't ferment well, it's not going to distill well, and that's the key to everything. So, all right, we'll head over to the Sugar Dick here, and we'll get underway. All right, guys, here we are off to see the Sugar Dick today at the Cash and Carry. Very good place to pick up sugar cheap, and it's much better than it was in the old days. I'll tell you, sugar's like $3 or $5 cheaper for a 50-pound bag, but it's a lot for me to handle these days. 50-pound bags. I really don't have the energy that I used to have to do all that stuff. So we'll see. We'll come down here to the place on the side and get that sugar 1992. Okay, there she is. Exactly what we need right there. Throw that right on there and go. Okay, guys, I'll tell you about the nice thing about the Sugar Dick these days is, a couple years ago, I used to have to hump these 50-pound bag sugars around the store and into the car, and now I get two or three sweet Sugar Dicks come up to me to offer to load my car up, and I really dig that. Okay, yeah, I gotta hump the 50-pounder at home, and it sucks, but it's not like I can ask Wolfie to give me a hand, right? Little lazy bastard. Anyway, we're heading home now. We're gonna do this ferment. Hopefully we can get this knocked off before noon, but I want to do an upload. I really want to address fermenting, because there are so many people now that you make their own at home. And the basis of any good alcoholic beverage, and I mean any alcoholic beverage, from wine to beer to spirits, is having a good ferment. And it was one of the hardest things for me to learn in life, was to make a great ferment that gave consistently good flavor and gave consistently good alcohol yield. Because if you don't have good yield, you're just throwing your money away. Invest $20 in $18.90 or whatever in a 50-pound bag of sugar. We got grains, we got water, we got time, we got gas being consumed to heat up grains and cook things. All that takes time and effort, and when you get a reduced yield because you get a lousy ferment, then you're cheating yourself and you're wasting your time. So I've been at this for years, and I've discovered quite a few keys that I'm happy to share with you, that I wish somebody had taken time to share with me, because working with the boss when we were first fermenting, oh God, off the hook, unreal, and we just, boss would flip his lids and stuff, and like a drill sergeant, it helps you lift your game now, and it helps you become a better Marine in the army of fermenting, and that's what it's all about. So we're gonna head back now and get on the job here. See you guys later.